Hello everybody, I hope you guys are doing well. Welcome to my channel. If you are watching for the first time, my name is Natasha and this is a space where we share our experiences, we learn and we grow. If you have not subscribed to the channel as yet, please do so just by clicking on that red subscribe button. Is it red? It's white now. On that subscribe button below. And for all my returning family members, welcome back fam. You know the house rules. We make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. We give the video a thumbs up. We interact in the comments section below. And we share the video so that we can reach more people, okay? So on this video, I'm going to be telling you guys how I found out I was pregnant. Guys. Yeah. Okay, so I honestly feel like God was preparing me for this journey like way in advance. Because in 2024, I stopped drinking alcohol in July, I think July of 2024, I stopped drinking alcohol. It was based on, personal reasons, spiritual reasons. And I just felt like that chapter of my life had come to an end and I had to close it. So that was the first step that I had taken. And then I've got a bit of notes here so that I don't go off track. And then I had a lot of dreams about being pregnant. So I think the whole of 2020, end of 2024 to I think almost the end of 2025, for almost a year, I was having dreams of me being pregnant, different type of dreams. And I usually write my dreams down so I could track the dreams that I had had. And at first, you know how they say sometimes dreams of being pregnant could mean that you are expecting or you are carrying a gift, but it doesn't necessarily mean a child. So I always thought about it like that. So in general, there are many different ways that people view like pregnancy dreams. But in any case, so I had a lot of dreams of me being pregnant. And the next thing that was very suspicious. So I was taking a walk this one day and a bird suddenly pooped on me. It was the most random thing. Like it pooped from my head to my shoulder and onto my shoes. I had to cut my walk very short and go back home because I had bird poop on me. And as if that was not enough. And then we always had an issue last year, where birds would poop on our door, on our doorstep. And I know some people don't really believe in these superstitions and myths and all of that, but these are just things that now when I look back in hindsight, I'm like, it wasn't a coincidence. This was actually, a sign, but I just didn't understand at that time why it was happening. So birds would just come and poop on our door. And I would not understand because they wouldn't poop on our neighbor's door or our other neighbor's doors, but they were always pooping on our doorstep. So yeah, that was the other sign. And then I think this might not have been an obvious sign, but now when I look back, I'm like, So I had a weave on done, a sew on or sew in. And I think I had it for like 2 weeks or like a week even. Guys, it irritated the heck out of me. Like I've done sew-ins before and I've kept them for like a month, 2 months and whatever. But this time I couldn't even leave it on my hair for more than a week. My scalp was just irritated. And it's not like it was itchy. My scalp didn't have any dandruff or anything like that. But I was just annoyed by it. Like I felt like things were crawling in my head and it was just the most annoying thing. And I remember coming back from work that day and I was just like to my partner, take this thing off. Please help me take this thing off because I can't do it anymore. Yeah, so that was another sign because I was just like, no, this is so strange. I usually do my hair and keep it like for a month, or even 2 months, or even more than that sometimes. But that day I was just like, nah, I can't do this. And I remember the relief I felt after I took off that weave. So that was another sign. And then this must have been the most obvious sign. I started having really bad cravings, okay? So this one day I was at work and then I started craving for moximeti. And I remember after work, I drove. I think it was a very long drive, actually, I remember, because I think I had to drive for more than 35 minutes to the restaurant where they sell it. I came back home and I ate that moximeti. When I tell you that that should have opened my eyes, because after eating it, I suddenly just felt unease in my stomach. Like, you know, when you crave for something so badly, and then you just have maybe 4 bites of it, or just maybe a couple of spoons of it, and then you're just like, nah, you know, and that's exactly what happened. So that should have been another sign, right? But the biggest sign that made me very suspicious was that my period was, I think, 2 days late. So that was the main thing that made me actually decide to buy a pregnancy test. And I think I also experienced a bit of cramping, which was very similar to what I had when I was pregnant with my first child. So I had this mild cramping, but the thing that was really confusing is that when you're PMSing, right, before you get your period, the symptoms that you have are very similar to pregnancy symptoms. So you find that you'll have maybe a bit of headaches, and I remember my boobs were a bit tender. I had this mild cramping, and I was so convinced that okay, probably my period is coming. The cravings, like the symptoms are very similar to pregnancy symptoms. So I was so convinced that no, my period is coming. My period is coming. My period didn't come after, I think, 2 days when it was supposed to have come. Then I became very suspicious, and that's when I started panicking. So I went and I bought a pregnancy test. I remember it was after work. It was the same day I actually bought the moximeti. So I came back from work, I had the moximeti, and I remember I just decided, you know what, let me test now. Yeah, so my partner was taking a shower at that time. So I decided, you know what, let me just quickly take this test and get it over and done with, because I was so sure that it's going to be negative. There's no way it's going to be positive. And I was so sure that no, my period is probably late because of maybe hormonal changes, because I had just started a new job. You know how a new job can be a bit stressful in the beginning with all the training and just the information overload that usually comes with like a new job. So I was so convinced that man, the reason why my period has not come yet is because I'm just going through hormonal changes, and also just generally going through a lot of changes. You know, I went from being unemployed and all the emotions that came with that, and now I'm starting a new job. So I remember I went to buy the moximeti first, and then I quickly passed at Kruidvat and I bought, I think, 2 tests. So I told my partner that, look, I'm buying pregnancy tests because I just want to get this over and done with so that we can scratch it out. Came back, he was taking a shower, quickly went into the other toilet, and I took the test. Guys, does the test not come out with 2 lines? And I never recorded myself because I didn't feel the need to, because I was just like, it's going to be negative. I don't need to see my reaction or anything like that, because I was not expecting to be pregnant. I was so shocked. You know, when they say the second you find out that you are pregnant, your entire world collapses. And that's exactly what happened with me, guys. I was so shocked. So I then decided that it was time for me to tell my partner. And I'm not one of those people who keep stuff from my partner like for a very long time. Like, especially when it comes to like big life-changing moments or big life events, I prefer speaking with him so that he understands where I'm at, what I'm going through. And he's my best friend. My partner is literally my best friend. So he's literally the first person I'll tell when there's something happening that is really big and that I feel like it's necessary for me to tell him about. So I decided, okay, I'm going to have to now tell my partner when he's done taking a shower. We were already stressed because we were suspecting that I might be pregnant. So after he was done in the shower, I decided to tell him. But the biggest mistake I made was the way that I started the conversation. You know how they usually say that the way that you start a conversation and the words that you use set the tone for the reactions, the feelings, and the emotions that are going to come with the conversation. So that's why they say it's very important to choose your words wisely when you start a conversation, and even your tone when you speak. It's very important because that determines where the conversation goes. Guys, I started off the conversation by saying to my partner, I've got some bad news. Tell me why. Tell me why I would decide to start a conversation like that. Already in his mind, his thoughts were running wild. His emotions were probably all over the place already by me starting that. And because there was a suspicion, I think he knew exactly where the conversation was going. Then I handed him the pregnancy test. And yeah, he saw that it was positive. And I remember he just went like this. He put his head down for a good, I think, 6 minutes, or if not even more. And we never spoke after that. I started crying. He looked very stressed. And after a couple of minutes, I just started like reassuring him that things are going to be okay and we are going to make it through. But guys, it was a very, very emotional announcement to my partner. It was a very, very emotional time. Us finding out that we were pregnant with our second child was just not what we expected. We were terrified. We were scared. There was just a lot of stress and a lot of anxiety, a lot of shock that came with it, because we had not planned to have a child anytime soon. Yes, we had spoken that it would be nice for Kai to have a sister or a brother in future, because I always said to my partner that if anything would happen to me or him, I would love our son to at least have a sibling that we can leave him with on this earth if anything would happen to us. So a child would have been nice, yes. If it didn't happen, I also would have been okay with it. But it's just that we never planned for it to happen at that time. So at this time rather, because I'm still pregnant. Yeah, so that's how I found out I was pregnant, guys. Then, yeah, long story short, it took us like, I think, months to accept. And we finally got to a place after a lot of processing our emotions, therapy, speaking, communicating about how we feel, planning. We had to do a lot of work for us to finally get to a place where we were like, okay, we accept. And more than anything, just reminding ourselves that, a child is a blessing from God, is a gift from God. And, good things are going to happen with this child. And this child is going to bring us beautiful things, So yeah, that's how I found out I was pregnant, guys. So I told my partner, then I told my brother, I told two close friends of mine, I told my sister and my aunt, because Ndandi Goa, guys, there was no way I was going to be able to keep it to myself. And you guys are going to see this in the next videos to come. I'm going to be sharing my entire pregnancy journey in the next videos to come. So you guys are going to see that. Dandi Goa, guys, I went through a lot in my pregnancy, in the start of my pregnancy. So I needed support. So I had to tell my family, especially being that I'm all alone in the Netherlands, no family, no close friends. So the only way for me to, have a piece of, was for me to share it with my friends, family, and close loved ones. Yeah, so guys, that's how I found out I was pregnant, and that's about it, guys. I've got more content lined up for you guys. I'm going to be doing an entire pregnancy series. So most of the other things about my pregnancy journey, you will find out in the next videos to come. I should also mention, guys, you must be very careful of okra water, or just anything that has to do with okra, because I ate a lot of okra, I think, probably a couple of days before I conceived. Now that I look back and I calculate when I conceived and when everything happened, I realized that a couple of days before that, well, I think a day or two, I had okra. And you know how they say okra makes you fertile, right? And I know a lot of people say if you want to be fertile, if you want to have a child or whatever, you should take okra. I did not eat it because of that. I just ate it because I love okra and I was craving for it at that time. But I do suspect that it had a role that it played in this entire situation. So yeah, guys, that's how I found out I was pregnant. Like, I always laugh at how people get shocked when they find out they are pregnant, as if they don't know what they're doing in the bedroom. Like, it's just like, how can you be shocked now? These are the fruits of your, mshumbuzo wakho buwenza phaya nerumini. Fruits of your labor. So yeah, I just laugh at, your reaction. You're like, what is this now? As if you don't know what you were doing. Yeah, so it's a thing of now you have to walk around with evidence of, there was a video I saw on TikTok, imagine walking around with evidence of what you were doing in the bedroom. Evidence, guys. But yeah, guys, that's how I found out I was pregnant. and it was shocking. It was a very quick, finding out or whatever. And yeah, that's about it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you also are pregnant or you have a child, please let me know in the comment section how you found out you were pregnant. And yeah, let's interact in the comment section below. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and share the video. And I will catch you guys in the next video. I'm so excited for this series. Bye.